Yeah,
Hello, John.
no bottom.
So today we're going to talk about the H-1B visa, which is the main pathway for skilled foreign workers, especially in tech, medicine, and engineering, to work in the US. It has historically shaped global talent flows. Knowing who uses it, large tech firms, hospitals, consulting firms, startups, explains why many US reforms sends ripple effects across countries like Ireland. If the US makes H-1B harder or more expensive, the competition for talent shifts globally. But it's actually not a bad thing for Ireland.
Yes. Yeah. It's a charge. What's the amount that there that this new development? What's the bottom line as regards whatever sort of charge the United States is imposing?
€100,000.
Oh, $1,200 maybe probably.
Sorry, dollars. Yes,
Dollars.
dollars. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of money. And is this applicable to American workers?
So it's applicable to anybody who needs a H-1B to work in the United States. Um, that's who it's applicable to. But I think what it'll do is you'll have more people coming to Ireland instead of going to the States. So Ireland could benefit from the talent pool because a lot of people, the majority of people, wouldn't be able to afford €100,000 for the visa. Um, so you'll end up with a lot of people coming to Ireland or staying in Ireland. You'll get a lot of people from China, maybe different parts of the world, come to Ireland because of that instead of going to the States.
Yeah, you would, and these would be kind of qualified professionals as such, experts in their particular field. And so this 100,000, I don't think it's a one-off thing. It's a tax. It's a charge yearly on individuals. So if it was a one-off charge, that might be not as severe, but it's actually yearly as far as I know.
Yeah, I think look, it's an opportunity for Ireland to redefine its role in the global economy here, and we could actually position ourselves now as the best alternative to the US for skilled migration. So the government could really move on this fairly quickly and capitalize on it.
Or they could. Now this 100,000 charge. Is there anything to do with the fact that in this country, for example, there might be American citizens working in the industries, these industries that have located in Ireland, primarily from America? Is Are they affected by this 100,000?
I
Because I think I saw where Morgan Stanley bank is having to
re,
instruct all.
re, mhm.
What?
Re, repatriate, bring them back. Is it?
Yeah, that they have to be back in America before the sometime in, I don't know whether it's September or October or what have you, but they have to be back before the deadline, so as they're not affected by £100,000 charge. It's wider than just applicable to people wanting to enter the United States, and this £100,000 for a visa. And the visa doesn't last; it only lasts for a period of time. So it's a charge that could recur to the individual wanting to go to the United States for to benefit from the high salaries there and that type of thing. So there's high salaries here for these type of people. So Morgan Stanley has instructed U.S. foreign citizens to return before they're liable for this 100,000. So it's 100,000 applicable in different directions, as far as I can see.
Yeah, it's basically look, it's anybody for whatever reason that needs a H-1B visa. They will have to return to the US before I think it's the end of September or sometime in September.
So it affects different groups. It affects United States citizens particularly because if they're working here or in other parts of the EU, Britain or somewhere else, Paris or Rome or anywhere, they better return sharpish according to Morgan Stanley and I suppose others that would be maybe have managed, good management positions in this country if they're United States subsidiary or they're located here because of our educated workforce and the way we've streamlined our education system to cater for all these companies that have located here, and we're very blessed to have them. But this is an effort by President Trump, and it seems a retrograde step in some ways because he's not going to attract the sort of experts that we're going to attract, and so that might even influence companies actually to relocate here, full stop, and don't bother about going back to the United States if they're from the United States. So it can have a counter effect in what he intends it for it to happen. To me, it's a very retrograde step for the United States to take. The objective is to, as far as I can see, the objective is to for American workers that are working in the EU or anywhere else to return to the United States pronto, or to be subject to this £100,000 charge, and that's a fairly hefty one because if you're getting 100,000 a year, you're not doing too bad, as regards your income. Now, in this country, I presume the American multinationals in the pharmaceutical and healthcare and all the rest of it that's here. I wonder would the chief executives of those companies be United States citizens? And if
Again,
they are, well, 100,000 might make any difference to them because they'd be on big salaries. And so they'd have to absorb that. But it's a charge, it's like a further income tax charge, isn't it?
it
We
is.
say for a high paid executive, a chief executive of some of these companies, they could be on salaries of about 350 thousand, 500,000 a year.
Hmm.
So another 100,000 on top of that would be detrimental, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because how are they're going to absorb it, and it's a yearly thing. It's not just something that be one off. It can be yearly, so it has going to have repercussions, and to me, it's a very bad move on the part of the United States because they're not going to attract the experts that they might otherwise attract. We'll be attracting them in this country because
Th-
we have this reputation, and I think it'll probably affect the price of houses. They're dear enough, especially when they're going to be locating in the Dublin area. That's already overcrowded, and the business of trying to get about in the city is a negative. And I think companies that are going to relocate here want to seriously consider relocating in good size towns in the country, the like of Mullingar and the like of other places like that, perhaps Longford and Sligo. I think there are some in Sligo, and I think there were some ones attracted to Mayo when they had good ministers from that county that attracted them to Mayo. And I noticed in Mayo the roads have been fairly developed, and so people can go, you know, fairly good. It's much more. It's much more easy to get about traffic wise than it is in Dublin. So the traffic in Dublin would be a negative, I think, for any companies now that are going to be freshly relocated, and even companies that are already relocated here might want to consider relocating somewhere else if the infrastructure is good enough for their requirements. I believe they use quite a bit of electricity. So all these are factors I think that these companies would have to undertake. But this 100,000, and you mentioned a kind of a figure, a this or some kind of a situation that it applies to, putting letters on it. But aside from the letters, it's 100,000 yearly charge if they don't go back quick. That's a retrograde step, and it's not going to attract expertise to the United States, which every country needs to a certain extent.
Yeah, well, if you look at JP Morgan, okay, JP Morgan has different types of career paths. And one of them may be that a person would come into the company and they would eventually go on the H-1B because they had to travel. So let's suppose they were working in Ireland, they had to travel to the United States. So they might be on a particular type of visa at the moment, but then they will move into a more senior role probably, and then they need the H-1B. Well, in this case, they wouldn't have it, and they'd have to stay put. Or one alternative, of course, would be that the J.P. Morgan, for example, they would employ people remotely in Ireland, so they wouldn't need to go to the US.
Right. And there's also the consideration that people can apply for Irish citizenship, and that might exempt them.
Yeah, I'm sure that there will be workarounds, but it seems to be kind of a chaotic thing that Trump has done, and I wouldn't agree with it, you know.
Well, no, and I don't think industry would agree with it. I mean, he has increased employment there, but you want to have a fairly consistent, positive approach, and to me, that's quite a negative,
Yeah.
and it doesn't bode well for the United States. Who wants to go to a country where they have this type of draconian measures to deal with it? So if they can do that there, they can do something else as well. So that's a very bad omen, and I'm surprised at President Trump and his team coming up with this nonsense. I think it should be reconsidered because it's not doing him a blind bit of good in the business circles, to my way of thinking, and in 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 the type of companies of the J.P. Morgan variety, who are a very, what would they call it, a very wealthy organization and going for the last 100 years or more
Yeah,
in the United States, and a very important partner. And if they're advising employees to come back before the deadline of this 100,000, so it could be it's a serious disincentive, and people that have been working here and working successfully, they might be too happy to go back to the United States, especially if they have families and such, and have made commitments by way of maybe owning a house. It's not going to be too. There's a lot of problems there. We'll hear about it in due course, but I can foresee that these type of problems, and I think President Trump will be advised to rethink that strategy pretty sharpish, to my way of thinking, and cancel it.
I think that would be the way to go. I think that would be
It
the
would.
solution because I look, Ireland's going to do well out of it. I can see anyway, so that's the most important thing. You know.
It is. And I think hopefully they'll adopt a pragmatic attitude vis-a-vis the housing situation. There's no point in having houses costing a fortune. And then if companies locate to other parts of the country, the next thing is the prices are going up there again. I think there has to be a cap put on. There has to be some positive attitude that houses can be affordable as they are on the continent.
Hmm.
We're more like the idiots over in Britain that don't know how to run a country at all, as far as I can see, with their chaotic price of houses, and salaries don't permit people to be able to buy these houses.
Hmm.
And I was wherever it was when I was going to this dinner last night for the pro-life in in the hotel Clayton. It described it as Broad's Bridge, but it wasn't in Broad's Bridge. It was in Leeson Park. But I noticed what's this? I noticed when I was going that you were talking about there. Um, I noticed something now, and I just can't think of it at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed something that didn't. Oh yes, I saw there was signs for luxury apartments to
Hmm.
rent in nice areas as I was going towards Pod's Bridge because I had a walk.
Hmm.
But be goodness, when I walked at the hotel at Bod's Bridge, it wasn't the correct venue. It was in Leeson Park or Leeson Street, Dublin, which is not Pod's Bridge. And this is what they described it. But anyway, but I did notice this business of luxury apartments. And I presume the prices would be luxury as well. So I think value for money should be the objective of this government and the people that have the power to sort of do something about it. The rest of us haven't got the power to do anything about it. We're lucky to have our homes, and you have one as well. And that's the best way to be at any stage of your life. And
Hmm.
I have one, thank God, for the past good few years, and I always had ones without paying through the nose either.
Very good. So there we go. Anyway, for anybody who's
Yeah,
wants some information, I think we've given them a little bit there.
I think we have, and we can see benefits for this country without a doubt. So because we have a lot of talented people run businesses and these foreign enterprises in the healthcare and all the rest of it. And I think they're very satisfied with being staying here. There's no sending them up in stakes and going somewhere else.
There we go. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
John.
Thank you very much, Oliver.